The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Tonight's show, as always, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great sports articles and podcasts. But most of all, the head baseball writer, pretty much the way it all turns out, Eric Katz from the from Belly Up Sports. Eric, how you doing? The Yankees are through, my friend.
Yes, very, very exciting. First time in 15 years. It was a heck of a series between them and the Cleveland Guardians, because the Cleveland Guardians are always a tough matchup. They gotta, they go in. You can't call the Yankees' path easy. I mean, Baltimore and Houston had that same path. Unfortunately, they folded like a deck of cards. But Cleveland bullpen is best in the business. It wasn't against the Yankees because they somehow got to Emmanuel Clase and Cade Smith
early and often, actually. Yeah.
And getting hit off Emmanuel Clase, it doesn't happen often.
No, the way that series turned out, we were trying to focus on. We'll talk about the immediate past soon, but the way that that series turned out, man, it was 4-1, but it was close, man. Like that bullpen was scary. Like on both sides, scared me a little bit. Because I feel like we talked about just last week how you put the little gem in someone's hand, someone's bound it to screw up, and it turned out the unflappable bullpen of the Cleveland Guardians was the one that kind of gave things up, and nobody expected that.
No, I mean, the idea was, which I think it might have been too during the Yankees' first 2 games that they won, where Cleveland didn't use Emmanuel Clase at all. That might have had something to do with it.
That's just it. Like, and that changed the whole outcome of the series. And you hold a guy and not to me. And I'm not a major league pitching coach. And I don't know how it all works out. But if a guy sits around for a while and doesn't get into the nuts and bolts of the series, maybe that had a little bit to do with it, because he wasn't who he was through the regular season. Had 0.63 ERA, and then came to the ALCS, and for the Yankees, good graces, he wasn't very. He flat out wasn't very good.
No, like this was probably his worst baseball he's played all year. The guy had stats similar to, and you'll know this name, similar to Eric Gagne when he won the Cy Young Award in 2003.
MVP as well, actually. Yeah,
he did. he was incredible that year for the Dodgers, ironically enough. But he was, all year long, some people were, I don't know why they were doing this, but they were comparing him to Mariano Rivera, which you can't do because that guy's just from another world. But in the world, in the ALCS, the Yankees they got to him. They tatted him.
That's it was such a close series. Like, you look at how that all played out, and let's just go to Saturday night. It was, the Yankees scored early, like we talked about last week. They got to take advantage of the opportunities they had, and got to 2-2. And then one thing that gets lost a lot in this conversation, the Soto at bat in the 10th was, might go down in Yankees lore, like we talked off of air here a little bit, depending if they win or not. But that error that the Guardians made in the 10th, that hasn't gotten any play at all anywhere at any time around here anyways. I'm sure where you are a little bit more, but that error that they made that got Soto to bat, that changed everything.
When they jacked up the flip the second, which it was looking like an easy double play where because the Yanks aren't particularly athletic. But they, it was, to me, all series long, not just that moment, which ultimately opened the floodgates in hindsight, but all series long, the Guardians' defense, which was one of the best all season, it was awful against the Yankees. They were making messing up plays that they would make easily during the regular season.
I never thought of this until just now. Like, Guardians fans must be thinking a little bit what could have been, and Guardians fans must be thinking, you know what? we lost this series more than the Yankees won this series. The way it played out for them. This is Guardian. I'm being Guardian fan talking a little bit because Guardian fans must be thinking we had chances, we had leads, we had this, we had that, and we just couldn't close it out. Now, is that because of experience? Who knows? Is that because of between the ears, mate? Probably. But Guardian fan must be thinking, man, it's been 70, 80 years or whatever it's been. Like, what do we got to do to finish this out?
Well, here's the thing too. They had multiple instances where they had traffic on the base paths.
Lots.
And they had moments where they could have easily gotten some runs across and made it hard for the Yankees. Now, do the Yankees come back? Who knows? Because we've seen the Yankees do that before. But they had moments where they could have easily added on to they could have easily scored more runs than they did. I mean, hats off to the Yankees pitching for obviously getting it done. But they had moments where, that they could have easily, they could have made it like that much harder for the Yankees and they didn't get it done. And I wouldn't call it experience either because a majority of that team has been to the postseason before. Ramirez was there with was even on the World Series team in 2016. Steven Kwan's been there before. He was, I forget his rookie year, but I know he was on the 2022 team. So I don't think it's experience at all. I mean, I think with Stephen Vogt a little bit though, because rookie manager managing the postseason is very difficult to do. Obviously, he decides to pitch to a red hot Giancarlo Stanton, and we saw how that worked out. I think really though. I mean, besides that though, I think I don't know. I mean, I'm convinced Cleveland's cursed at this point because they've had several opportunities over the years to kind of put that to
bed. Back in '97, they went with the Yankees. They beat the Yankees, and then like they over the years they've been right there. They've been in some World Series championship. Lost to the Marlins in '97, and lost to the Braves. Lost to I actually at work today. This was quite a funny. I said. We were talking to my boss. He's a Yankees fan, and he was laughing a little bit. He says only Cleveland would lose to the Cubs.
Absolutely,
like one of those things. So maybe Cleveland's just going to Cleveland, like one of those things. Only because think how many years the Cubs just needed the right matchup to win a World Series, and it just happened to be Cleveland.
Right, and Cleveland that year was no slouch of a team. And because they had won, I think they had broken the Oakland A's record for wins in a row. I think they got 22 that year in a row.
Crazy.
And they also had their pitching staff that year was ridiculous. Like Corey Kluber in his prime, a young Trevor Bauer, a young Shane Bieber. Carlos Carrasco was there. Francisco Lindor was 23 years old. They had the right ingredients that year to win.
Yeah.
And the same could probably be said about those Indian teams during the 90s.
They had everything. Like those teams, like you think of what they had with Carlos Baerga, and then they had Manny Ramirez even played for those teams. And Jim Tomei, and on it goes with those. These are fantastic teams, like Hall of Famers up and down the lineup. Take us to where Eric Katz was on Saturday night at about I think it would have been midnight Eastern Standard Time. It was all sit around your household there when count gets a 3-2. Juan Soto's at the plate. How far down the knuckles were you? Were you down to the third or fourth knuckle on your hands, or what? And then when it got to 2-2, 3-2, the couple tight pitches. What was your go pitch by pitch from 1-2, 2-2 to the home run? How how it all broke down between your ears? Because I know how I was. I just want to hear how you were.
Oh, the pitch by pitch. Okay, so I'm sitting there on the bed watching the game, and it's the error happened before, so 2 down. I'm like, okay, now's our chance, guys. With runners on first and second and 2 outs. And this is the guy you want up because Soto had been hot all series long. So the tight pitches, I'm just thinking, they were borderline strikes. They could go either way. I thought so. Yeah. I wasn't too. During the series, there were a few calls that annoyed me, but those weren't one of them. there was ball. I'm like, as the foul balls start happening, I think probably foul balls are probably a lot more stressful in the postseason than they are during the regular season. He's on him. He is like he got a couple to rip there too, and I'm like kind of starting to kind of flatten off the bed, kind of like a cartoon that's melting at that point, because the stress is so real. I'm hugging a pillow just because it's just that kind of moment. And then next thing you know, he gets a hold of it. Soto's looking at it, so I'm like, I know he thinks it's gone.
I didn't think it was the way the outfielder was still playing it, going back. I didn't think I didn't think sitting in. I was in Medicine Hat with my in-laws' house on Saturday night. I didn't think it was gone.
Neither did I.
So then, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
I didn't think it was gone. I'm thinking like Soto. I'm like, well, Soto thinks it's gone, so I'm just thinking because Lane Thomas has got a pretty good beat on it. So I'm thinking, it's just he's tracking it. It's gonna fall in his glove at some point. But that ball it was one of those that just continued to carry. And as soon as it got over the wall, which was actually a lot farther than we all thought, I literally screamed. Man, I literally screamed. I couldn't help it. I don't normally, but it was one of those moments where a 3-run homer, I'm like, nah, this game is over. There's no way Cleveland comes back from that.
Yeah, I was. We went out for dinner for my father-in-law's 70th birthday, and we were at a steakhouse, and they didn't have it. And I'm not going to punch my wife, but I got to give her a shot in the arm a little bit because I was like, "There's no TVs here. What's going on? What's going on? It's game. It's the ALCS. It's the Yankees. What's going on?" And so I was like, "Okay, you know what? It's not all about me. It's not all about Brent. It's all about the Yankees. This is my
71.
This is Peter's night and everything else." And she was, and I was actually being a very good husband. I was like, okay, being good. Didn't have my phone out, wasn't watching. Didn't have the updates on, nothing. And she would say it's the score as we were going through. And then
you probably owe her back on that one.
Yeah. No, she owes me. So it got to about the 8th inning, and they only live a couple of blocks from where we were having dinner. And I basically was like, "Can we go? It's 2-2. Can we go?" Kind of. So the little nudge. So we got back to the house, and then and put the game on, and I was like, "Okay, now it's Brent time." We like just sitting there, and then when the at bat was happening, I started edging towards the couch a little bit, the same way you were on your bed. Yeah. I was like, "Okay, yeah," and then I got thinking like, because I got a few years on you, obviously, and I was thinking, and I like Soto a lot. I'm not disparaging him at all, but back in my day, like early, like in the 80s and everything else, when the way Soto stares down a pitcher, that wouldn't have gone down very well back then.
No, he got it thrown at you.
Like you're a baseball historian, savant. That you would get one right between the eyes, even in the playoffs. Like,
you'd have to fall on the ground.
Right? You'd have to done. You get either dotted or you get brushed back quite a bit. And that was the first thing that came through my mind. I was like, Jesus, why don't they just brush this guy back a little bit or do something? And then when he hit that, when he hit the ball, finally, I was like, that's got a chance. And then I like same as you. I was like, the way he was tracking it, I was like, no, maybe off the wall for a double, score a couple runs. I thought, and then when it goes, I jumped up and I cheered for the first time that night because, like I said, we were at dinner at a steakhouse. I couldn't just be jumping up and down when we were going to update the score. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then when the game was done, and actually I'll go back a little bit. My father-in-law Peter, he said because there was 2 out, and he said, if I was judge, I'd strike out right now. Get out of the inning. They got enough runs. Get your bullpen. Don't have your reliever sitting any longer than you have to. You got enough runs to win. And I said, that's the smartest thing I heard tonight. And that's what I thought, that the judge didn't strike out or whatever happened to that at bat. You're in euphoria at that point. But I said, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Get your reliever back out there. Don't make them sit around. Just get this game over with.
Right, because it's like, at that point in time, though, it's like a 3-run ball game. I just knew that like you get 3 or 4 runs against Cleveland. If Cleveland doesn't have the kind of offense that can slug like that.
Yeah.
They had a nice offense this year, but the only real sluggers in that lineup are Josh Naylor and Jose Ramirez. That's about it. That team's really built for contact, where if it's a 1-run ball game, they got a chance. But 3-run ball game, I just thought like a home run like that would probably suck the life out of them in that entire stadium.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Just get it over with. Like let's like give them any reason to get anything going. Just be done with it and just get out there, get it done. Don't just you have enough runs. And if you blow, and then here's another thing. If the Yankees would have blown, let's say they would have blown a a 5-2 lead in what was game 5, they still have 6 and 7. Get in, get it out, just be done with it, and let's get the heck out of Cleveland and let's go on to the World Series. And
Right.
that was my thoughts. Yeah,
my thought was the win like the previous like day or two was huge, because you didn't want to like you didn't want to spot them 2 wins at home, because then
and that game was awesome.
Right, that one was exciting, because that game I was kind of like Paulie Petrino in Rocky, where I was screaming no all the time.
Yeah.
And like it was like one of those deals where I was screaming like no like rapidly when the Yankees were when the Yankees were struggling, and it was one of those back and forth games. It was probably arguably the best one, probably the best game overall of that series. Forget the Soto home run. That was probably the best game overall.
Friday night was unbelievable. That game was like when Rizzo dropped that ball at first base, I could have killed him. I crumbled on the floor in my living room, like what the hell? And then like if I could have reached through the screen, because that was his error. Like I know they I don't know if they gave it to Leiter or not, but that series, Eric, was a lot closer than the 4-1 said it was. Like and that's about playoff baseball. Like you get 4, because you could win 4 in a row in your last at bat and be behind all, and that's what makes baseball so great. Is that until that final out's recorded, anything can happen, and you're always right on the edge of your seat, and especially when your team is winning, and when your team has a chance to win the World Series, there's nothing quite like it, and so you always have a chance.
It's like that's what they say about baseball is, unlike other sports, you can't just sit on a lead. You better throw that ball in there and pray someone doesn't pop it into the upper deck.
The Soto home run is it might be epic, and actually when, like I asked you earlier on, I didn't get a chance to clip it today, but I asked you earlier on today what your iconic Yankee moment is. Playoff baseball. It's Aaron Boone for a lot of people, and it was an ALCS Game 7 Red Sox. The way they came back, the game itself is iconic. And Clemens started, didn't go so well. We talked about it the other day. And then Mussina came in and
kept Pedro in for too long.
And the rest is history. And Grady Little kept Pedro in, like you just said. Because it was the Red Sox, and then the rivalry that it was back then. That the Boone home run, to me, how do I word this? If the Yankees were to lose to the Dodgers in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, however long it takes, the Soto home run might not mean as much as the Boone home run did, because of the dramatics and the way the Boston rivalry was, and because the Yankees lost that World Series
03,
in 03. So is the Soto home run, I don't think will ever, unless if the Yankees win, it'll have a major
too soon to tell.
History, right? But if the Yankees win, that World Series, that home run is going to mean a lot. But if the Soto home run, to me right now on the 22nd day of December, is a little bit behind the Boone home run.
It's not the same magnitude, because Boone's it's not even the same magnitude, because Boone's home run sent the Yankees to the World Series, and it came against the Boston Red Sox, which is at that point
Game 7, and
it's not even the same magnitude. Soto's home run was great, don't get me wrong, but it didn't walk the Yankees off into the World Series. It gave the Yankees a lead, which 3 runs down, in theory, even though at the time you weren't thinking so. Cleveland, 3 runs
Game
down.
5 compared to Game 7.
Right. And Cleveland could have easily, if Cleveland had enough strength, if Cleveland had the offense, Cleveland could have easily come back from that.
Yeah.
Boone's home run occurred like in extra innings. It wasn't like a 10th inning deal. Boone's home run walked the Yankees off into the World Series, and it was at Yankee Stadium too, which made the magnitude even at the old
at
Yankee
the old
Stadium.
place and everything.
It was just more iconic, just given the opponent and given the time and given what it did.
That's I remember where I was. Do you remember where you were when that all happened and all coming down?
Yeah, I do. I was at my parents' house in where they live now. I was in 3rd grade at the time. Actually, my godfather, he was actually at the game. And this was back when postseason tickets were probably significantly cheaper than they are now.
I saw last night that the cheapest seat was $1,000 on some secondary market. It's only going to go up and up and up between now and then.
$1,000 is actually given what it looks like now. And I was just looking on Game Time just for curiosity. $1,000 is probably a steal right now.
Jesus.
And man, it's people have been asking me all week if I was going to that. I told them no, and I said, look at the prices. There's no way I can afford that. I will not go broke just to watch my baseball.
Being a podcaster and being a writer for Belly Up Sports doesn't pay for that ticket. It's not one of those things. No, we'll talk about this a little bit later on about the wife's been talking about something goofy, but it's when the Yankees, like I said not that long ago, when your team's got a chance to win it, man, oh man, it takes over your life a little bit. Like I'm giddy right now. Like I'm having fun with it. Had another guy on earlier on today, and then got another guest on tomorrow to talk about Yankees baseball and the fun of it and iconic moments and the fun that you're just having with it.
Absolutely.
I'm smiling ear to ear from those listening to the podcast. Later on, you'll see on YouTube. But it's man, oh man, like baseball is such a long season, and
absolutely.
Like there might be 4 games left, and there might be 7 games left, and you go through 162 like you and I do. Like I think I watched 100 whatever games this year, and you're part of it, and you listen to podcasts, you listen to the Michael K show, or you listen to John and Susan on the radio, or whatever it might be, and then you have you follow people on Twitter and everything else, and the community of it all is just, man, it's fun. It is so fun when your team has a chance to pull it off.
Absolutely. I mean, it's I think you and I can agree. That's there was a question that I saw. It was actually really funny. It's like, what do most men want in life is for their team to win a championship, because the euphoria of it and the happiness you feel when it happens, it's unbelievable. I mean, obviously Yankee fans, we've been spoiled over the years where we've to be able to experience that high multiple times over. But it's just, 162 is a grind, and it's a long, long season. And, obviously it's a season of highs and lows where you're going to get excited when it's high. And then when you hit the lows, it's going to feel like you're never going to win again. And obviously key players getting hurt, which makes it even harder because the Yankees had their share this year. And it's just, when you win the World Series and you see the wall that went into that all year, it just makes it so, I'd probably say it's significantly harder to win a World Series than any other championship in sports, because of how long the year is and what you go through throughout the year. Because I think baseball out of all the sports is the longest season out of them all. The
one thing that I was reading about Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool of whatever, but like people now I've been getting like I work for a baseball team and I work at a baseball facility, and some baseball guys are, well, it's the best World Series that money could buy, and blah blah blah, and money can I get it. But then if you're an educated baseball fan, yes, the Yankees spend money, yes, the Dodgers spend money. Let's not dispute that because it's fact. But then you get to the nuts and bolts of it a little bit, and you see that Cleveland's owner is one of the 4th richest men in the United States.
You got Charles Dolan.
And then you have other teams who they make a lot of money and they can spend some money as well. I have no problem with an ownership group who wants to go and spend some money. I don't, because if every team, these guys are all billionaires,
Right.
They're not going poor. They're not. Do some other teams have different revenue streams? Yes, but you got to spend money to make money. And a wise man once said, "You'll never save money by saving money." Right. But by Steinbrenner and the what's the group? I can't remember the name at the top of my head for some reason. Out in the Guggenheim group out in LA, they've spent money, and
a lot of money,
a lot. And you never are guaranteed to do it. But if you give your team a chance, I got no problem with that. When these other billionaire owners, which they're all billionaires,
yeah,
and they're not rich off their baseball teams. They're not.
They've made money other ways.
They made money other ways. For other fan bases to besmirch the Yankees and Dodgers, I'd be like, your owner could do the same thing. And the other, on the other side of it, Eric, people were complaining last year about the Arizona Diamondbacks playing the Texas Rangers, which isn't a sexy matchup by any means. And let's not pretend ourselves. Right. So people complained about the non-sexy matchup. You actually have the sexiest matchup in probably baseball history for a World Series.
Right.
In 30 years. Easily.
Longer than that.
And people are complaining about that. Like, what? If you don't like baseball, just say so. Because then, what more do you want than what baseball has right now? You have the Dodgers West Coast ex-Brooklyn team, which was in New York, obviously, and moved over back in 50, 60 years ago, I think it is now. And then you have the Yankees, which is the Yankees. So you have the good guys versus the bad guys. You have East Coast, West Coast. You have Ohtani versus Judge. What more could a baseball fan want? If you're a fan in Milwaukee, or if you're a fan in Montana who barely watches, if this doesn't bring people to watch baseball, I don't know what else to do, man.
This is going to shatter probably
everything.
records of things you can watch on TV. Is like you literally have star power all over the field. You literally have future Hall of Famers all over the field. Ohtani will be, Betts will be. I think Freeman will be. Judge has a chance. I know if Stanton stays healthy, he's got a chance. Cole will be. You literally have star power all over the field in the two media capitals of the world.
Yeah, if you don't watch this series, I don't know what's wrong with you. I really don't.
This is
this is everything a baseball fan could possibly want.
This is gold. Baseball's been begging for it for a very long time.
The Yankees have a shot, and we'll get to actually let's bring up Stanton right now. If the Yankees win a World Series and Stanton has a mid to okay World Series, couple home runs, some RBI, doesn't look like a fool, because in the regular season he's looked like a fool at times. Let's not sugarcoat that. He has. There's been some week-long slumps that he's been on. Could Giancarlo Stanton, with all the hatred that he gets from Yankee fans throughout the regular season, if the Yankees win a World Series, could he carve himself a plaque in Monument Park?
That's a hard one.
I just tricked you a little bit, Eric, didn't I?
Yeah, that's a hard. Well, he wasn't a career Yankee. I mean, a lot of the times when you put a plaque in Monument Park, you're a career Yankee, with the exception of Andy Pettitte, where he had that kind of like that little run.
Paul O'Neill was our Cincinnati Red.
Right. Oh boy. The problem is those guys.
I just got you, didn't I? I just got you a little bit. I like that grin on your face there, Eric.
Oh boy. I like Stanton too. And oh boy. I mean, Paul O'Neill had iconic moments.
So Stanton.
Yeah, he a little bit.
O'Neill won a few more world championships.
O'Neill won multiple championships. He's called the Warrior for a reason. It took him a while. It actually took them a while. Well, keep in mind they retired his they retired his number and put him in Monument Park well after he was retired. It took them it wasn't that long ago either that they put it in there. So And also there were guys who even wore the number after Paul O'Neill. Oh boy, it probably might be one of those things where they just retire it years down the road.
Yeah, it won't be like Jeter the year after, a couple of weeks after the season ends. Like with
No,
that, but
yeah,
man,
Jeter was different though.
he's because if you can kind of compare without the PEDs,
Right.
You can compare what A Rod's postseason in '09 is to what Giancarlo's doing right now. Like because
Absolutely.
without A Rod, the Yankees don't win the ALCS in '09, and they don't,
No.
and then they don't. So obviously, you don't win the World Series.
Well, well, Stanton's also on, unlike A Rod kind of needed '09. Stanton's been a proven October performer for the Yankees for a while. And he's, you know, along that line. A Rod from 05 to 07 was a no show in the postseason with the exception of 04, where he was absolutely dynamite that year. But 05 to 07, like the big question became where's A Rod? He can win MVPs during the regular season at the time, but his bat's a no-show, and actually it got so bad that Torrey batted him 8th in 2006 against the Tigers.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't a good look.
Which Torrey regrets it now, obviously, given which this was pre-social media, mind you. I don't think Torrey could get away with that now. But you know, A-Rod kind of needed something like that, because the big question with him was, where's A-Rod in the postseason? Stanton's always put up, I think since coming to New York, Stanton's always been a solid contributor in the postseason.
Yeah, I do this thing on my podcast once in a while, where Brent was right and where Brent was wrong. And earlier, like when the regular season first started, I was first to say that this team will never win a world championship with Giancarlo Stanton, the way he's just inept a lot of times, and he goes for week-long slumps, and the amount of money. Yes, I know the Marlins are paying. There's a convoluted mess of accounting sports that come into that. But I said this team's never going to win with Stanton. But now it turns out this team can't win without Stanton. I was wrong. Like I was completely wrong. But like, I'm also one of those guys, you throw enough crap in the wall, something's bound to stick. But I was completely wrong about Stanton. Without Stanton, this team's not where they're at right now. They're not in the postseason.
Because he's as I've always said, that Stanton's the type of hitter that will just frustrate you, because he goes up there and guesses. That's just part of his game, where you guess wrong, you're gonna look like an idiot. But if you guess right, the ball is going to travel a very long way. But Stanton's always been a good October performer for the Yankees. People forget about that when he's getting hurt or striking out during the regular season.
What are you looking forward to the most the next couple of days? Let's not get into game 2, game 3, all the biting the knuckles down to your wrist, the way it's going to turn down. What are you looking forward to the most these next couple of days, Eric? Because it's fun. Like, I'm having a blast. I got people calling me. I got people coming over. A guy that I work with a little bit, he's coming over to watch a game here down at the Yankee Tavern North, and it's exciting. What do you yourself, Eric Katz, looking forward to the most about the New York Yankees having a shot? Because right now we have a shot. Right? We have a shot. It's not 2-0 or 0-2 or 0-3, and there's no negativity really blasting about. You can remember about the good times in the old days, and you can kind of poke fun at your buddies and stuff. And what are you looking forward to the most now that we're on Tuesday night here at 7:02 Mountain Standard Time, 9:02 Pacific? What are you looking forward to the most the next few days?
I'm looking forward to just the star power that's going to be on the field. A bunch of future Hall of Famers who are going to be on the field against each other. I'm looking forward to seeing a rivalry really that hasn't really been a thing for a classic rivalry being renewed. It's been 43 years since the teams faced each other in the World Series. Obviously, during the 80s, the Dodgers were very relevant at that point in time. And the Yankees, they would put together. This was before the wild card, so modern day they'd probably make a wild card, and who knows what happens. But at the time, there was just you win the division and that's it. And now, obviously, the '90s, the Dodgers kind of fell off for a while, and the Yankees obviously at least the mid '90s were were the toast of New York City, and obviously the 2000s were kind of up and down for the Dodgers. And while the Yankees were able to capture a couple rings there and go to 2 more World Series, I'm looking forward to seeing just 43 years of history renewed.
That's one thing's fun with me. Like here in Lethbridge, where I am, they were the Pioneer League team back in those 1980, 81, 82, and I think they left in 83, if I recall correctly. But those Dodgers, like there was a lot of Lethbridge, Alberta Dodgers, LA Dodger fans still kicking around here. So it's been a lot of fun to reminisce about those days when it was Yankees Dodgers back then. And I think this is great for baseball. I really think this is great for baseball. It's going to bring a lot of older people out of the woodworks a little bit. It's going to bring a lot of memories back. It's going to bring. It's the 2 best teams in baseball in the regular season, and that hasn't happened in a long time.
No,
it's the big heavy hitters. It's Ohtani, who's worldwide famous. It's Ohtani versus Judge. It's the Yankees Dodgers, and I think this is. As much as people will disagree with me on this, I think it's great for baseball. I don't think it hurts baseball. Yes, it's the 2 teams that spent the most money, but you know what? Like we said earlier on, every team can spend money. But I think this is good for the game of baseball. I don't think it's the 2 biggest stars on the 2 biggest teams on the biggest stage, and I'm expecting a doozy of a series. I really am.
I'm expecting it to be just absolutely bonkers. I don't think you're going to have I don't think this is a very dull World Series at all. You're going to be at the edge of your seat constantly because these teams can put up runs, and it's the 2 largest media markets in the world. It's going to have worldwide appeal to it because it's a fact that the Yankees and Dodgers have fans worldwide. That's just a fact. As far as teams spending money, well, if you got it last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who aren't really big spenders, and you got it with the Rangers, who did spend money, but not nearly to the levels the Dodgers and the Yankees did. Like, you've had those kinds of World Series, and you've been turned off by it and not watched, judging by the ratings. Well, now you got a big ratings hitter and big teams. Now you don't want that. Well, what exactly do you want?
What do you want? What do you want? And I always find it funny. Actually, I don't know. Because I'm not a football guy. Actually, I'll talk it. Like people will watch some non-consequential football game on a Sunday afternoon because their fantasy football team, they say they're sports fans. If you aren't watching this, you're not a sports fan. You're not. This is going to be a knockout, drag them out, Rocky versus Drago, Rocky versus Apollo. This one's going to be. Rocky's probably a wrong reference because Rocky's an underdog. I don't think there's an underdog in this one. I think this is 2 equal teams and 2 equal cities that the game of baseball and baseball nerds like me and you deserve. I think this is going to be awesome.
Baseball has begged for this World Series to come back for over 43 years, and here we are. This is the thing that Fox adores because they know they're going to get eyeballs on the TV. It's a known fact that baseball needs the Yankees and Dodgers to be relevant. If they're both teams, like we saw last year, the postseason ratings were down because the Yankees weren't. Part of the reason was the Yankees weren't there, and neither were the Mets. Yeah, the Dodgers were there, but when the Dodgers obviously failed in the postseason last year, you made it all. It was literally the lowest rated World Series of all time. You want action. You want the sport to be big. Well, here you go. Did they spend money? Yes, but here's the thing. Your owner could spend too. I'm done with the small market thing. Peter Seidler did it in San Diego, and San Diego is considered quote unquote small market. And when he brought in all those players in at the time and to try and compete for a World Series, I don't buy it. These guys are billionaires. They can own it. They can buy it.
Every single owner could do what the Yankees do,
which I encourage
single owner could do.
I encourage the small market fans to stop drinking the Kool-Aid that they feed them, saying we can't afford it.
Bullshit.
I've absolutely I don't buy it. I always say your guy can spend too. If he doesn't want to spend, that's his own personal decision, and all I got to say is, well, if you don't want to spend, then play better. Simple.
Exactly it. I mean, and every player aspires to make some money and win a world championship,
Yeah.
and give these players a chance to win. And that's what the Yankees and Dodgers have done. They've given these players a chance to win.
As
There's a lot of guys that are playing for the Yankees. If you take away the stand, I'm not. I don't want to be a podcast who's apologizing for the Yankees for spending money, but you take away the Judge, the Cole, the Stanton, and the Soto. I mean, it's four guys, obviously, but that's $100+ million right there, right?
right, and you take away you take away some of the Dodger stars. That's probably even more.
And so every team has guys who, like, it's just math. Like, it's two or three guys that every team could spend money on, and two or three guys who get hot in October. And yeah, you might pay a guy a lot of money, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to get hot in October. And that's
No,
what Stanton's done. Like, everybody complains about Stanton in July. It's like, oh Jesus, here we go again. Here we go again, right? And so it's not a guarantee. You spend money, and I was at an establishment. This is a few years back, but some guy was complaining to me about the Yankees, about how much money they spent. This in 2017, I think it was. I was just complaining about the Yankees buy World Series, and I said, well. I said, who are you a fan of? He says, I'm a Jays fan because he's up here in Canada. I said, did you know in 93 and 94, when they won world championships, they spent the most money in baseball? Shut him up instantly, right? And
you look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are different now, just with inflation.
Different. And it's just different. Like Ricky Henderson was making $1 million. Like Ricky Henderson nowadays is probably making 50, right?
Right.
It's one of those things with the numbers he was putting up back then. But don't complain about the other teams when your team has a chance to do the exact same thing. And like you said, Eric, and I said it earlier on today too, is you know what? This is good for baseball. I think it's good for baseball.
Absolutely.
I think it's the best thing for baseball to have.
It's going to get the eyeballs on the TV, the casual fans, the diehard fans, the fans who tune in every now and then. It's going to get every single baseball fan on the planet.
Who do you think North America is cheering for right now? On a Tuesday night at 9:11 p.m. Who's North America hoping wins this World Series?
That's hard because there's equal amount of malice for both teams.
Yeah. Because I always say nothing brings two people together like the hatred of a third, but now we have it. What two people are getting together for the hatred of both?
You're probably going to have, well, depending on the Red Sox fan, you'll have, well, I'll probably say Boston roots for the Dodgers because they just want nothing to do with the Yankees. I'd probably say the AL East is probably rooting for, well, maybe except for maybe some of Canada. I'd probably say the AL East is probably rooting for the Dodgers. I think everyone else is rooting for the Yankees because the Ohtani contract kind of pissed a lot of people off.
What did I see today? I saw that Celtics and Lakers fans are both are rooting for the Dodgers. Well, it makes sense, right?
So, right. Some of those guys came from over there.
Yeah, it's
the Lakers naturally, of course, because Magic.
Yeah, Magic. Yeah. No, it's going to be very, very. I
don't think
mesmerizing.
It's going to be a literal cultural. It's going to be more than just baseball. It's going to be culture.
I hope so. Like now that I sit here talking to you, a baseball fanatic / dork like myself, like I this is going to be, man,
baseball.
It's more than baseball. This one, it's going to be something.
Like celebs are going to be there.
All of it.
It's literally going to be not just the World Series like it typically is, or even the Cubs Indians World Series, which I wouldn't qualify that bigger than baseball, but
that brought a lot of eyeballs on it, right? That was so.
But times that by 12.
That was tear jerking, that one.
Oh yeah, Mother Nature couldn't even handle that in Game 7.
Yeah.
But the Yankees and Dodgers, it's going to bring the world together, not just in a baseball way, but in a very cultural way. It's going to be celebrities everywhere. It's going to be mass amounts of money to advertise on this, probably borderline the Super Bowl.
Times 7 games.
Yep. The advertising costs are going to be through the roof. Like probably up there with the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is expensive, but this one might border it, or in some cases exceed it, depending on the game. You've seen the tickets. It's going to bring in a lot of tourism to New York and Los Angeles, and there's going to be a worldwide appeal because Japan and Otani.
Yep.
And
this is the biggest sporting event that we've seen in a long time.
And it's going to bring
people will say that I'm nuts, but this is going to be the biggest sporting event in a long time that we've seen worldwide.
It's going to bring the world together in a cultural sort of way, because obviously you're going to see people with the fashion statement hats of Yankee hats and Dodger hats, whatever that you see that you turn on the TV and you see it.
I got my 2013 Yankee Stadium purchase hat on right here. That's my 2000, because I buy one every time I go. This is my first one. It's a little bit worn out, so I'm not a bandwagon jumper. So it's 2013 hat. Yeah,
I've got multiple. I got this World Series hat recently because I inherited it.
Yeah,
and I got my other one, which is starting to get a little worn just because you wear it a lot.
Wear it out, man. Wear it out.
And then it's going to bring the planet together. Really, this is going to be bigger than baseball, much bigger than baseball.
That's a good point, Eric. You should write an article tonight about that for Belly Up Sports.
I probably will, because I got so much to say about it. Because right now I'm working on the history of the rivalry overall, because I don't think people really understand that this goes back to when the Dodgers were in Brooklyn.
Well, you think about the one of the most iconic plays in baseball history was Jackie Robinson stealing home plate, and Yogi, till the day he died, said Jackie was out.
He still claims it, and actually he put it in his
memoirs and his documentaries and all
and his museum.
No, it's going to be great.
Yep.
It's going to be absolutely phenomenal for baseball fans and just non-baseball fans across the world. Yep. There's going to be celebrities. I don't know. I hope Fox has some, because you remember in 2009 when Jay-Z and Alicia Keys did that.
They will all be there.
That New York song, I'm not going to sing because I get the voice of a
just New York
drowned frog, but yeah, it's
Empire State of Mind,
Empire State of Mind, and that was the opening thing. And no, man, this is going to be just.
I mean, phenomenal. that one had stars, but not nearly to the
not like this.
Not to this magnitude.
And Mary Hart behind home plate at Dodger Stadium every night, and Jason Bateman were in his usual seats down the first base side. And no, it's in LA, and then you go to New York, obviously.
Magic will be there. I think he brought
in his seats.
He actually brought Michael Cooper along with him.
No, it's going to be it's
Magic, which it's going to be. I know Rob Lowe really likes the Dodgers. I know he's probably bound to be there. But in New York, you'll definitely have Jay-Z, you'll have Beyonce, you'll have Alicia Keys. Heck, maybe Taylor Swift will even play a cameo in at least a couple of the games, either in New York or LA.
Spike Lee will show up. I laughed a little bit that usually Spike sits behind the Yankees dugout in the suite there, but he was behind the Guardians dugout the other night. I was like, Spike got bumped a little bit.
Spike's probably barking at him like he does at Knicks games.
Yeah, it was kind of
Spike. Spike will definitely be there. Spike's a notorious Yankees fan.
Yeah.
And who else? My gosh, you'll probably even have some guys from other sports too coming too, like during basketball season, the Knicks and things like that. Maybe even the Rangers and the Islanders and blah blah blah.
No, it's going to be it's going to be awesome. It's just what we'll get to predictions here. We'll take a little break here and have a second. But when are your I don't know if you're nervous now, but when are your nerves going to set in a little bit? Because I'm just euphoric a little bit. I'm just having fun with it. When are you going to start to? Is it going to be Friday morning, first pitch? When are you going to start overthinking this a little bit? Because we have nothing to do with who wins or loses, but fans get fanatical. When are your nerves, Eric Katz, going to get to a little bit? I can't take this.
Probably Friday morning. When I wake up in the morning to go to work.
Oh man,
it's going to be. I'm going to feel. I'm probably going to be I'm probably going to be nervous walking into the office building. I'm probably going to be gripping the desk because I'm going to be thinking about it all day. And it's going to be hard to focus.
Yeah, I've already our front desk person. I put my Yankee jacket on when I was leaving the office today, and she goes, "So you're not coming back for the rest of the week, are you?" I said, "No, I got to work today or tomorrow and the day after." But I've kind of mailed it in already. Today was Tuesday, and I was like, "Yeah, my mind's really not in it. It's about the Yankees, Dodgers, and the World Series, and see." Because, like I said earlier on,
I'll be checked out by midday.
Yeah, I'm checked out. It's Tuesday, and I'm checked out a little bit, so it's going to be. When your team's got a chance to win it, and it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great.
Because after
I hope it goes 7. I really do.
I really do too. Because man, it's just going to make the magnitude of this series that much bigger, and it's going to erupt to something that baseball can just build off of if they do it right.
Yeah. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Yankee Hype Week, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420SEAT at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Save your money. Don't use it on World Series tickets because if you spent $1,200, $20 ain't gonna do you much good. The tax will get you. But use them for a football or basketball or hockey ticket, whatever it might be. Here's a little word from our friends at SeatGeek.
SeatGeek presents Boomstick Lady. SeatGeek helps her find the perfect seat so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Oh, okay. SeatGeek handles the tickets so fans can fan.
Eric, I really hate to do this, but because I never bet on my own team. I don't bet very often or if ever really, but man, oh man, I really hate to make predictions because everybody's going to say you pick your team because you picked your own team. But
I have no shame.
It's going to be interesting to see who wins this thing. Here's predictions brought to you by RighteousFelon.com and Righteous Felon Jerky. Use promo code BELLYUP at Righteous Felon Jerky, the best jerky in the land. Use promo code BELLYUP over there at Righteous Felon. It's good stuff. What do you got? Who do you got winning prediction time? Who do you think? And let me know. Tell me with your heart. Tell me with your head. Tell me with whatever's got going on there.
Yanks in 7. The Dodgers. The Dodgers don't have I don't think the Dodgers pitching can hold up. If the Yankees can get because we've seen them have to abuse their bullpen in the San Diego series and also this series against the Mets and also against the Mets too. There were games where the Dodgers just didn't feel like pitching, and they and the
Sunday night there was a bullpen.
Which they did, but there are also nights that the Mets didn't feel like pitching either. I'm not denying that. But if you look at some of the games against the Mets, where in theory you would think the Dodgers would be able to kind of beat them in 4 or 5 games, to be true, the Yankees know how to jump on this kind of thing, and especially it's going to also depend on. I don't think it's going to really depend on the stars. It's going to really come down to the complementary pieces, and that's ultimately, I mean, aside from Ohtani home runs here and there, Freddie Freeman's not 100%. And obviously they've kind of ridden on some Kike Hernandez magic, which the guy can be put up a lousy regular season, but come to the postseason, the guy is all of a sudden one of the best in the business. But I'm going Yankees in 7. I think that their pitching will. I think as long as if they can get some deep starts from guys like Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon and Clark Schmidt and others, I think that they'll be able to pull it out.
I think I agree with you. I think you're going to see Cole make his money and put his legacy series together. He's starting 1, he'll start 4, and they'll find a way to start him in Game 7. That's what he's going to get paid to do, and it's going to be one of those things. It's a pitcher's game now. Stanton, I think, is going to get his legacy. I think Judge is going to have his legacy thing, and I think the Yankees are just going to do it. I got a feeling the Yankees are going to pull this off in 7 games. I really do. They've been the best team in baseball. Yes, the National League, obviously the Dodgers have the best record, but the
rest of the National League has been pretty mediocre this year.
Well, the Yankees also should have won a few games or more against the Chicago White Sox, and they probably want those ones back if you look back on the season the way it all turned out. But It's going to be a beauty. It's going to be an absolute beauty. I hope you come on. Maybe we'll get you on Sunday night after the games 1 and 2. We'll talk, or Sunday afternoon when the football game's on, because I don't watch football. But and just talk about the first 2 games, because man, oh man, I'm getting the more I talk to people about this, and talking to you tonight, I'm more and more excited about the whole thing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely love to come back on. You know, if you want to shoot for Sunday afternoon and to discuss, I have no qualms doing that. You know, I watch although I've started to notice on my end with football, I've kind of started to drift away, like more than what I used to. Less than what
Yankees are playing right now. The Yankees are relevant.
Even without the Yankees.
So a little story. Sunday night after we left my in-laws' place, we went for a beverage at a local establishment just around the corner from their house, and the wife says, "You know, we can pull this off, eh?" I said, "What?" She goes, "Well, like, tickets are expensive. Maybe not go to the game." And I said, "What game?" She goes, "Well, World Series." I said, "What?" She goes, "How much fun would it be to fly into New York and just be around the stadium and go to a game, and or not go to a game, but be at the Yankee Tavern or stands, or just be around the ballpark that night?" And whatever. And I kind of brushed her off, and then she brought it up again tonight. I was like, that might not be the worst idea, to be around a whole bunch of Yankee fans, and to go there, and to be around the whole thing, and fly in, stay a night, fly, or maybe go around the state for a couple of nights and be around it. So I might be in New York on Monday. We'll see how this all turns out, because she's got some plans and things, and she's a little secret of what might happen on Monday morning, but it might be fun. Yeah. So.
She must be keeping some big secret, huh?
Well, we don't talk very much, because I'm always on the air with other people like you. So it's one of those things. So no, so it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a phenomenal series. What's that?
Bring her on the air.
Then we wouldn't have a chance to talk. She talks a lot. She talks more than I do. So it's one of those things.
Does she know baseball?
Yes, she does.
That's another reason too.
So we'll get her on maybe on Sunday afternoon, and she'll tell us why the Yankees lost or why the Yankees won, and have it all going on. So no, Eric, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great World Series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, it's going to move a lot of people. It's going to be. I can't contain my excitement. I think it's going to be.
It's building for me. I mean, we're not like, because obviously you got Monday. You know, okay, you know, I'm chill. Tuesday, I'm starting to feel it. Wednesday, I'm going to feel it. Thursday, I'm definitely going to be feeling it. Then Friday,
and that was the thing why I wanted to get you on, and another few people on this week. It's just to talk about the fun part of it, right? Because it was very serious last week. Right. It's going to be very serious next week. This week we can just have fun and just enjoy it and get excited about it. So
it's going to be bigger than baseball. It is going to be much. It's going to shatter the magnitude. I think, to be truthful, I will be bold enough to say it will be the most watched thing on television.
I hope so. Because I think it's going to be great, and I'm excited, and I hope it all works out. Go Yankees, Eric. We'll talk to you probably on Sunday. We'll be in touch. We'll probably be meshing back and forth here and there, between here and there. But yeah, tell us about what you got. Tell us about your next article you're writing for Belly Up Sports.
Well,
I'm excited for what you told me about it.
I'm writing about the kind of like how the rivalry between the Yankees and Dodgers is going to be renewed, because this is a rivalry that that goes way back. Because at one point, did you know, before the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles, they were in Brooklyn? Yes, there were 3 teams in New York City at that point. Imagine that. It was in the same city, not just separate cities. Not like now with, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. 3 in the same city. The Yankees, the Dodgers before they moved to Los Angeles, and the New York Giants before they moved to San Francisco. Imagine something like that. This is a rivalry that goes so far back. You might have to ask your grandfather if his school is still open, to walk through the halls for how old that is.
Yeah, no, it's Yankees Dodgers, man. This is something that people have been dreaming about since '81's last time they met, and I remember that That's how old I am, Eric. I remember there's probably one of the very first World Series I actually paid attention to when I was a kid. Cause yeah, no, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be.
I'm getting like a grade 9 schoolgirl going her first dance right now. It's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. So here's hoping it turns out to be hoping it turns out to be a 7 and the right team comes out on top. But
hopefully, but either way though on the Yankees end, it's been a fun year. Really has.
It has.
And I was really I was fortunate enough to see them in spring training this year. I spent the whole week down in Tampa. And
yeah, I got to get down to that too.
Oh, jeez. It's fun, like, because the thing about it is too with that ballpark where the Yankees single A affiliate plays is it's a smaller ballpark. It's significantly smaller than Yankee Stadium. Is you actually get a lot closer to the players. Yeah. And like actually, I was fortunate enough this year. A friend of mine, she was at the same game I was. It was the Yankees Pirates game, the game where Stanton hit 3 homers in one night. Yeah. And she gave me a ticket. Next thing you know, I'm sitting behind home plate when they're taking on the Mets in spring training.
Unbelievable.
And I got to sit right behind Aaron Judge, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Gleyber Torres, Juan Soto, who I got to see at batting practice.
No, it's this is Christmas week for baseball guys like me and yourself. It's going to be great.
Friends of mine sent me this one photo of me back when I was in college resurfaced because it was around the time when the Yankees were where the Yankees unexpectedly went to the ALCS in 2017. And
their best team they've had. That team is the best team they've had in the Judge era. That team wins the World Series this year.
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
And yeah, it
ain't close. They sweep the Dodgers.
It was
that team does.
Yeah, and someone sent me a photo. They showed me they're like, I bet the alligator mouth has gotten bigger because that's what I looked like when they advanced. And friends of mine were like, I was in the back of the room just dancing around back there, and friends of mine were like, literally yells in the middle of class, someone's having a little too much fun back there. And my professor's just shaking her head, going or saying just under her breath, Eric. And yeah, it was and then obviously, when Stanton came and friends of mine tried to, I was actually in an IHOP when that happened because he turned down going to the Cardinals, and they almost choked me against the table because they were so mad.
No, it's gonna be fun, Eric. We'll talk on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully the Yankees are up 2-0. Actually, you know what? Hopefully it's 1-1.
Absolutely, that's probably what's gonna be.
Yankees go home, tied 1-1, have 3 in the Bronx, and who knows?
Exactly.
There it is. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all the great articles, especially the ones written by the baseball writer, Mr. Eric Katz himself. Eric, thank you very much. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Go Yankees! And remember, smart people bunt.